Have you ever paid a toll without slowing down? Bought concert tickets from a cash machine?
Yeah, perfect.
Or tucked your baby in from a phone booth? You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
I first heard about mobile broadband about 1998 when I was running a technology fund, and this is when people started to talk for the first time about what 3G would do.
We realized that if you could do it on the internet, probably or potentially you could do it on the phone as well.
I want to do more than talk.
I want to surf on my phone.
There was no limit of what opportunities we had as an industry. Vendors were extremely optimistic about what they could do technically. Operators were equally optimistic of how much revenue they could derive from mobile data. There were banking, advertising, gaming, video, everything.
Third generation will change the world in ways that we can hardly imagine right now.
The use of the term 3G excited people. This generated hype and what you could do and interest, and in the main you could, but it's a question of how do you get there.
There was one guy in Sweden called Jonas Birgersson. He was called Broadband Jesus, and he was going to dig a hole in every street in Sweden, and he was going to change the world. You know, those were the days, on the barricades.
Japan is usually moving faster than anybody else when it comes to establishing new technologies. So, of course, the work together with an operator like Docomo has been important.
2000, 2001, a lot of excitement, 3G, data, what it would mean. And the first system in the world was launched in October 2001 in Japan.
Today I can say that I mistake to estimate the maturity of the technology. Docomo launched 3G service, or WCDM 3G service in 2001. That was the first in the world. I didn't take any day off during 2 years before the service launch.
予定してたローンチがちょっとずつずれてって、日々胃が痛かったです。やっぱりガラパゴスの文化からグローバライズドされたプロダクトに行くという意味では非常に期待が高かったと思います。
I worked in broadband wireless access for a time, and we were doing, data delivery via wireless. And when we saw the 3G networks and what data speeds, I think we had a little chuckle to ourselves, thinking, well, that's not really our competition at the moment. We're okay.
Yeah, I think one of the first real good applications when we had this first smartphone out there was email. It was a starting point. Of course, you could do web browsing, but email was a starting point for. It was so convenient to have in your pocket.
Some people may think I'm sitting in my office in Dallas, when really, this is my office. My office can be anywhere in the world that I want it to be. That's third generation.
In, say, the early 2000, when we began to deploy Edge, and you had the capability now for me personally, when I was traveling on the road, you'd be able to do your email sync without having to get connectivity to a particular Ethernet wireline connection or something like that. So it began to start becoming a reality at that time. I can remember in hotels in the evening when you needed to synchronize your email, just starting it and then going to bed, and then it might be synced by the time you got up in the morning with all the PowerPoints, attachments, etc.
There were huge expectations, of course, and it coincided with GSM really taking off and generating a lot of profit to the operators and to vendors. And it was easy then to extrapolate and say, okay, this is what happened with GSM. Now we're going to add data. We're going to see the same thing. So it was a lot of positive momentum around this at that time.
And I mean, it was in this enthusiasm that the prices of all the 3G spectrum in Europe and the spectrum auctions got so high because everybody was looking at the business case. Or maybe there wasn't even a business case, it was just that the case was such that we cannot not have spectrum. So we have to pay whatever it costs to get spectrum.
Well, I hate spectrum auctions. They are detrimental for the industry.
Unplug. Let's rethink mobile broadband.